Welcome to Royal Daily Report, your trusted source for royal family news and updates. I'm your host, and today we bring you an exclusive story that has shocked the world. Don't forget to subscribe to Royal Daily Report for more breaking royal news. For years, Prince Harry has stayed quiet. He was loyal to the woman he once called his safe place, his escape from royal control. But now, that silence has broken. In a moment that shocked even his closest friends, Harry finally spoke up about what really happened behind that public fight, the one the world saw but never truly understood. It wasn't just a bad day. It wasn't just stress and tension. According to people close to him, it was the moment everything changed. The breaking point where quiet frustration became open conflict. And it didn't happen in secret. It happened under the bright lights. At the one event meant to define Harry's legacy, the Invictus Games, that's where the smile disappeared. The cameras caught everything. And the prince the world once knew, the proud, down-to-earth soldier, disappeared right before our eyes. But the story behind that moment goes much deeper than a simple argument. It's a story about Harry's private fears, Meghan's public behavior, and the dark connections that may tie them to something far more dangerous than royal drama. Because what started as a quiet conversation between husband and wife has now become a warning from a prince who finally realized the truth about the woman beside him. If you're enjoying this exclusive report, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications for Royal Daily Report. It was supposed to be Prince Harry's proudest day. The Invictus Games weren't just another royal event. They were his creation, a symbol of hope, recovery, and the strength of wounded soldiers who refused to give up. And on that bright afternoon, as cameras flashed and crowds cheered, Harry looked like a man at peace. His shoulders were relaxed. His smile was real. And for a moment, it seemed like he had finally found his purpose outside the palace walls. But then something changed. From the stands, Meghan moved. It wasn't a small, casual movement of someone adjusting in their seat. It was sharp, purposeful, and a little too loud for the moment. She tugged at her blouse, pulling it open just slightly, as if making sure every camera saw her. The crowd didn't notice, but Harry did. The look on his face changed so fast, it was almost painful to watch. That proud, easy smile vanished. His eyes hardened, his jaw clenched, and suddenly, it wasn't about the Invictus Games anymore. It was Harry and Meghan center stage, locked in a silent argument for the world to see. The people around them kept cheering. The soldiers, the athletes, the families, they were celebrating something pure. But Harry wasn't celebrating anymore. His gaze stopped following the games. It stayed fixed on Meghan. You could almost feel the air change between them. The man who had once looked untouchable now looked trapped, like he wanted to be anywhere else but next to her. And then came the gesture that said it all. Slowly, Harry lifted his arm. Not to wave, not to clap, but to create space. A small barrier between himself and Meghan. It was subtle, but it was powerful. Like he was drawing a quiet line in the sand. Stay tuned to Royal Daily Report for more exclusive updates. Don't forget to subscribe. That tiny motion told a bigger story than any royal statement ever could. This wasn't a man proud of his partner's presence. This was a man exhausted, one whose patience had been tested too many times in public. For years, people have whispered that Meghan knows how to command attention, and not always in ways that fit the moment. But this time, the proof was right there. Caught by cameras that didn't lie. Harry's expression told the truth his words never would. His body stiffened. His shoulders locked. The easy joy drained from his face. It was the kind of moment that can change how people see a couple forever. Not through gossip or rumors, but through the truth of body language. Harry's face wasn't angry in the way of shouting or rage. It was worse. It was quiet anger. The kind that sits behind the eyes and says, "Enough." And behind that anger was something deeper: humiliation. Because the Invictus Games were his pride, his safe place. And in just a few seconds, Meghan had managed to turn his spotlight into hers. That was the spark. The moment where admiration turned into discomfort and pride turned into pain. What looked like a small gesture to some became for Harry a sign that something wasn't right. Not with the event, not with the press, but with the person sitting beside him, and maybe that's what hurt most. Because when the cameras caught him that day, Harry wasn't a prince or a host or a royal rebel. He was just a husband standing beside a woman who seemed to always know how to make every stage her own, even when it was his. The world saw a smile fade, But for Harry, that moment at Invictus was something deeper. It was the start of a quiet war, one that began not in private arguments or press statements, but in a single look, a small gesture, and a silence that said everything words couldn't. After the Invictus moment, one question hung in the air like smoke. Why does Meghan keep doing things that push Harry's buttons? At first, people thought it was vanity, that she just couldn't resist the camera's attention. But the more you watched, the more it felt like something deeper, something almost instinctive. Meghan doesn't just seek attention, she needs it. Every exaggerated gesture, every dramatic turn of the head, every carefully timed laugh, it all fits a pattern. Because to Meghan, attention isn't just admiration, it's oxygen. And maybe it's survival. It's as if she's been trained to perform, not just in front of a lens, but in life itself. Every smile looks rehearsed. Every public moment feels choreographed. And while that worked perfectly in Hollywood, it doesn't play the same way in the quiet dignity of royal life. Especially beside someone like Harry, whose emotions are raw, unfiltered, and painfully real. Keep watching Royal Daily Report for the full story. Subscribe now. That's what makes their dynamic so volatile. Harry feels deeply. He reacts, he absorbs, he wears emotion. Meghan, on the other hand, performs it. At Invictus, those two worlds collided: authenticity and performance, and the clash was impossible to miss. But as strange as it looked on camera, what came after was stranger still, because that public crack in their image wasn't random. It was a glimpse into something much larger. A history Meghan has spent years trying to keep buried. Before she was a duchess, Meghan was an actress. But not just on set. Acting was her armor, her survival skill, and maybe her weapon. To the world, she played many roles: the girl next door, the ambitious starlet, the humanitarian. But beneath all those masks was the same strategy: control the narrative before it controls you. That's what she does in every interview, every photo, every public outing. She builds the image she wants people to see. And when the cracks show, when Harry's discomfort slips into frame, she performs harder. It's not about love or partnership anymore. It's about dominance through performance. And when you look back, you start to see that same rhythm repeating, not just at Invictus, but at the very start of her royal life. The exaggerated movements, the perfectly timed tears, the way she turns every camera flash into a scene, it all fits the same pattern. Because for Meghan, performance isn't something she turns on, it's who she's become. And that's what makes this story so much more than gossip. It's a study of control, the kind that hides behind charm and smiles, the kind that knows how to make even the most powerful man in the world feel small. For Harry, it began as love. But for Meghan, maybe it was always something else. Another stage, another role, another act in a story she's been directing all along. This is Royal Daily Report, bringing you the truth behind the headlines. Subscribe for more. Just when people thought the story couldn't get darker, another name entered the frame: Prince Andrew. The whispers said Meghan hadn't just brushed shoulders with powerful figures before her royal days. She'd been close to some of them, too close. The phrase used in those quiet circles was close companion. And that wording was purposeful. It didn't mean acquaintance. It meant access. It meant proximity. It meant being present in rooms where secrets were currency. According to those familiar with the old Epstein circles, Meghan's name had surfaced, not just as a rising actress, but as someone in the orbit, someone who knew the faces behind the masks, who saw how influence was traded and reputations protected. If that's true, it changes everything. Because that means Meghan didn't walk into royal life as an outsider. She walked in already understanding how power works, how to play people who believe they can't be played. And that's what makes the close companion claim so dangerous. If she was ever connected to the same network that once circled Andrew, then Meghan didn't just marry into a royal scandal, she carried one in with her. The British monarchy has a long memory, but it also has short patience for scandal. Normally, someone like Meghan would have been erased from royal life the moment things turned sour. But she wasn't. She still gets headlines. She still gets invitations. And deep down, everyone knows why. It's because Meghan might hold something the palace can't afford to lose leverage. The royal family has seen this before. Sarah Ferguson, Andrew's ex-wife, was supposed to disappear after her scandals. Yet somehow she never really left. She still showed up at Christmas, still walked beside the royals on holidays. still stayed just close enough to remind everyone she knew things they didn't want told. Silence in this world isn't innocence, it's power, and Meghan knows that better than anyone. So while the public sees her as the woman on the outside, those inside know she's more like a shadow that never leaves, the kind that can't be cut off because her silence isn't just a favor, it's insurance. And that's what makes Harry's position so tragic. He thinks he's protecting her, but in reality, he's protecting what she knows. Behind closed doors, the fear runs deep. King Charles avoids decisive action because he understands the risk. The risk that if Meghan ever decided to speak, it wouldn't just shake headlines, it could shake the throne. Prince William, on the other hand, sees it clearly. To him, Meghan and Andrew are twin problems, ticking time bombs with the potential to blow open the family's most guarded secrets. And the late Queen, according to those close to her, understood all of it long before anyone else did. She knew how these stories begin with charm, opportunity, and whispers, and she knew how they end. Royal Daily Report, your source for exclusive royal investigations. Hit subscribe. The palace learned a long time ago that you don't fight fire with exposure. You smother it with silence. You keep enemies close because distance only makes them dangerous. That's why Meghan still holds influence she shouldn't. Why she still has access she hasn't earned. Because the firm isn't protecting her out of loyalty. It's protecting itself from what she might unleash. And caught in the middle of all of this is Harry, the man who left everything behind to protect. Meghan now finds himself more tangled than ever. He thought stepping away from the monarchy would bring freedom, that he could build a new life on his own terms. But what if that move didn't free him? What if it trapped him? Because if the allegations are true, if the files, the CV, and the erased evidence ever surface, Harry isn't just a husband. He becomes a liability. Every speech he's given, every lawsuit he's filed, every plea for privacy collapses under the weight of his wife's secrets. And that's the cruel twist. The same love that made him leave is the same thing that keeps him trapped. He can't cut ties with Meghan without risking exposure. He can't defend her without looking guilty. So he stands in the middle, between a monarchy that fears her and a woman who knows too much. The irony is brutal. The man who wanted to protect his wife from the crown may have ended up protecting the crown from his wife. And that's what makes this story more than just royal drama. It's a web of loyalty, leverage, and love, a slow-motion trap that keeps closing one scandal at a time. Because if even half of what's rumored ever comes to light, the CVDA, the erased files, the private associations, it won't just be Meghan's reputation that burns. It'll be Harry's, and maybe the monarchy itself. For now, the palace keeps quiet. Meghan smiles for the cameras. Harry plays along. But behind those smiles sits a truth so heavy, so dangerous, that silence has become the only thing keeping the royal family from collapse. The stage is set, the players are trapped, and the reckoning, the one no one dares to name, may have already begun. This has been Royal Daily Report, bringing you the stories the mainstream media won't tell you. If you found this report eye-opening, make sure to subscribe to Royal Daily Report and hit that notification bell so you never miss our exclusive investigations. Share this video with anyone who wants to know the real truth behind the royal headlines. I'm your host, and we'll see you in the next report. Stay informed, stay curious, stay subscribed to Royal Daily Report.